Yo, I am back and I'm ready to run my mouth. Okay, so today, I think on the last episode, I can't even remember what we're talking about, but it's irrelevant. I'll look it up, whatever, cutscene. Make sure you watch my first episode of Proof of Concept. Check me out, help me out with these views. I'm trying to get this thing going. However, today's episode, I'm just gonna jump right into it. There's a couple things in our young 20s that we're all trying to understand. Things like friends, relationships, money, vacations, all these details that go into 20-something where people expect you to have life together and you just, quite frankly, have no idea. So, this is my plan. For this episode, we're gonna talk about something that is near and dear to my heart. Now, sometimes it depends on where you're from, you might look at it kind of crazy, but money is, they say, is the root of all evil. However, when you use your money appropriately, you can do a lot with it. So, on this episode, we're gonna discuss how to regulate your finances in a more cohesive manner. So, for example, instead of actually be sitting in front of the camera and just jibber jabbering, what I'm gonna do, we're gonna cut this into different parts in different parts of the city, and now we're gonna stitch it all together. So for right now, this is me in my home, and this is called a kitchen. Are you familiar with kitchens? Kitchens have sinks, stoves, refrigerators. The benefit of kitchens is that they allow you to save money. Stop buying food. Stop buying food. Stop buying food. I know a lot of people say this, and this is my challenge for everyone. Think of your favorite restaurant. Tyrone, I'm dragging you in the middle of this. Tyrone likes Wingstop. I would challenge Tyrone to go into wherever you bank with, I'm Wells Fargo, whatever yours might be, and go into the search bar and type your favorite restaurant and see how many transactions you have on there. Now I understand, every so often we gotta treat ourselves, and I get it. But what's also important is that what is at that Wingstop, what is at that establishment that you just have to crave? Is it the convenience? If it's convenient, take a day out, do all your cooking one day, pour you some drinks, have a, whatever it may be, cook and make it a festive thing, but make a lot so you can eat it throughout the week. You cannot sit up here and tell me right now that Wingstop chicken wings are better than Tyrone's. And that's what makes me mad. He cooks really well. I don't understand why he goes to Wingstop. I don't get, but don't worry, we'll have more about Tyrone. Tyrone's gonna be a character that's always gonna come in. Cutscene to me and Tyrone at house. Hashtag honorable.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half.
We not doing this. This the promo before the promo, nigga. This what the real money getting niggas do, nigga. Game gas top of this shit. We get the money before the niggas getting the money, get the money. You feel me? Yeah, nigga. Come here, nigga. We got Leah. This the executive producer. Yeah. She makes sure nobody cussing because if we do that, we can't get the YouTube money. This is Elijah right here.
Alright, boom. So now you kind of get an idea of our relationship. You see our dynamic and whatnot. So, yes, coming back to what I'm saying, food. Food is sometimes we eat out of just habit and behavior, but we don't always have to do that. It's always critical that we find a solution to why are we eating out. Are we eating out because we want the social gathering? And then, which is going to take me to my next point, social. Sometimes we do this thing called socially spending, where we do things where we don't necessarily spend, we're not trying to spend money, but we end up spending money. So, for example, I have a close group of friends that run a shop called Born Vintage. That's where I'm headed right now. There's not gonna be any surprise fees, arguably. I might go get like a White Claw, whatever, it's Friday. But other than that, there's not gonna be any surprise fees. I can go there, kick it, have a cool conversation, and just enjoy communicating with someone, that classic thing. And it's fairly cheap. So we're gonna pick this up back at Born Vintage. This is the part where where YouTubers put their hand in the camera and they pull it back out. So my turn, I'm on YouTube, I'm reaching, and bam! So, what's up, y'all? Back again. I'm in my cozy, my home element right here at Born Vintage. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen me. How's my headspace looking? It looks like the lens is going down. There we go. There we go. There we go.
My bad.
all the cores and the Trulies then got to us.
Did you
knock me out? Bitch!
I
No, I do. I gotta record it.
Oh,
yeah. The last point I left off at, it was socially spending. A lot of you guys are out there kicking it with people and spending money with people that you generally don't like. And the issue is, it's not you or the other people, it's the fact that the both of you haven't found your niche. For example, I'm sitting here in Born Vintage. How would you describe Born Vintage, bro?
Fun.
Here, bruh. So the person behind the camera, give you guys insight. Brock is the owner of Born Vintage, this dope ass shop with a lot of cool things. Can you just show them, just show the camera real quick. Just mark my words, I'm getting a C10 with a Tesla body. It's gonna be built right here. And it's gonna be with my flip flops on. It's gonna make everybody mad, but I love it. Anyways, how to save money? You guys should seek out friends who kind of already found their thing, or at least work together so you guys can all find your thing together. In that process, you don't have to spend money at the club. You don't have to spend money at bars, because you know why? Because when you just come to your friend's home element, y'all ain't gotta spend no money. Just watching your friend do their craft is all you need for a little engagement. So that is another quick tip on how to save money. Find motherfuckers who fucking have goals. That's it. I love it. I gotta leave the yee in there. So, anyways, what's up with you again? I know the last time we spoke, I was actually at Born Vintage, and I was discussing on the importance of having friends that also are trying to find their own craft. Now, this is no knock to those who haven't found their beat per se, but this is a good opportunity for those who haven't found. Go along and find friends who are doing something so you guys can collectively just find something together. There's no right or wrong on knowing when's the right time to find your thing, but the process of the searching process is actually more expensive than you think. So if you try something, stick with it, and then it works, cool. You can try something, doesn't work as long, you know, whatever the situation may be. But you need to understand that when you're around those who kind of found their thing, it actually becomes a cheaper process for the entire friendship. For example, back in the day, I wish I had footage of this, but it's all gone. I used to try to make beats. In that process, I bought like a keyboard, whatever. I bought the little beat pad and all that. And I really dedicated myself to making beats. In that process, I actually gained a good friend, Rich Homie Drew. If you sit around and look at that screen long enough, you're gonna come up with something.
You're gonna figure it out.
Exactly.
I feel like I could get into that area, like truthfully. Because it could just be, like, it doesn't even necessarily, because for instance, like I just wrote the, like my quote, or what's gonna be like the introduction of the page, right? Mm-hmm. And like kind of basically explaining what the shit is.
Right.
And at the end of it, I put my name. I put mine though. I put Groovy Drew.
Better known as Matt. Clothesline, nobody's favorite. The Instagram's gonna be tagged, linked below. But just through that quick process of us both realizing that, yo, this beat making might not be the one, we probably saved us a lot of money on going out, eating pointless food and whatnot. So it's really cheaper to find friends who are trying to find their craft together. And Rich Homie Drew is my prime example. However, I have a little bit more for you. Another good saving tip or money tip that I should give to somebody in their 20s is that the importance of saving. Now, obviously everyone tells you saving is important. No one ever said blow the whole bag, right? Well, this is a little different. I think everyone in their 20s, this might seem far-fetched for some because just like myself, a lot of us are on minimum wage. Those who broke out of the minimum wage, congratulations. I'm still trying to learn how to do that. But just for complete transparency, let me just keep it funky with you. So I think I made $13.50 an hour, about $13.50 an hour, and I work like a 40-hour week. So you guys can do a little math and you guys can figure out how much money I make. Now within that entire process, I live in a house shared with 4 other people, so my living is really broken down into just my rent and bills. My rent and bills will leave me at a minimum about like, per se, maybe $550 a month after the rent and I paid the bills and whatnot. So you can do the math, the $1,800 for the $1,800 that I'll be getting minus the $55, that leaves us with a grand total of, I don't know. That leaves us with about $1,200 left. So then you ask yourself, well, Mo, what do you do with the remaining $1,200? Well, I still have to eat, I still have to put gas in my car, and I still have to eat, I have to feed the truck, gotta feed myself, and then sometimes I have to buy like little necessities and whatnot. So for example, my credit card bill every month, because I put all my food and groceries on that, is anywhere ranging on the low end $220, on the high end $400, depending on the type of month I had. Now let's go ahead, let's just subtract $400 from there. So now we're going to subtract $400. That's leaving us with a grand total of about $800. So you're like, all right, now what are you doing with the remainder of your $800? Now what I do, recently I picked up a life insurance policy, because this is a whole nother deeper discussion that maybe not a lot of people want to hear, but I'm past the point where they're talking about black lives. I recently put my money behind a life insurance policy. The reason why I want to put my money in a life insurance policy is because, hey, guess what? I live in Bakersfield, California, as I always say, and law enforcement isn't exactly on the side of minority. At one point, they actually had one of the most lethal law enforcement jurisdictions on the West Coast. But this is not really to have like a somber note on anything, even though it is a somber situation. The point I'm trying to make is that if I'm able to purchase a life insurance policy, what it gives my family and those left behind a fighting chance if something were to happen to me. Such as if there was some form of, I don't even want to speak that. I don't want to get too detailed on what could happen to me, but I don't want my family to have to start a GoFundMe in order to create money for an attorney, in order to have money for the hospital, or any other bills that may arise due to my situation with law enforcement or anything else. So I say this to a lot of minorities. If there's a lot of crap going on in the world, and the value of your life is actually being reduced each and every day. And I'm happy that we have a lot of allies, within this Black Lives Matter movement and whatnot. But it's important that we also financially protect ourselves by making the small steps of purchasing life insurance policies to reassure that if something were to happen, that now we financially have a fighting chance to get even. And the reason why I say this is that if a lot of black folks started getting life insurance policies, the whole idea of law enforcement killing black people would slowly become dismissed. Another thing that I wanted to discuss actually is investments. Investments are a critical point to transcending out of being rich and into becoming wealthy. Now, the difference between rich and wealth is honestly habits. And I don't make a lot of money, like I said before. I'm a minimum wage employee. I love my job to death, but I'm a minimum wage employee. So I'm not in a situation where I'm talking about like I'm making adult money, the $40, the $50, the $60, the $70,000 a year. I live off of, I don't even know what it is at 1,800. Let me see, 1,800 is rounded up to 2 grand, 2 times 12. I make less than 30,000 a year. Through that, I also take a portion of my checks every month, and what I do is that I invest them in stocks that I care about, or companies that I use every day. For example, I invest in Chegg, I invest in Adobe. I invest in Chegg because I'm a student. Adobe because what I'm editing this video on is something I use every single day. I invest in Kroger. I go to grocery stores every day. I invest in, it was a dental group, but actually I pulled out, and like an idiot, I should have kept it, but that's here nor there. Soon I'll be investing in more camera companies and things like that, because if you know a certain industry, and I want to go more in depth on this, we have the benefit of us being in our 20s and being financially savvy. We now have the opportunity to look at the companies and the products we consume, and we have to understand when we like them, there's also larger groups of people behind us that also like them. I'm using a Mac computer. Apple stock is always a safe bet. Sitting your money in Apple stock, yeah, you'll have a couple months where you'll go down, but for the most part, the company, it's guaranteed to increase. The value of it is guaranteed to increase. So if you transfer some of your savings, liquid cash in your checking account, and just put arguably 20% of it in stocks, this gives you a chance to get the ball rolling on trading. Now, do I suggest you pour it all into one stock? No. Diversify your portfolio so then you have an opportunity to win everywhere. Like I said, my portfolio isn't as diverse where I want it to be, but more importantly, it's not just putting your money there and letting it sit there, it's creating a habit to continue saving in that area. So for instance, $200 is pulled out of my checking account every month. So right now, we're at 800, subtract the 100 for the life insurance policy, you subtract 200 for trades and stocks and whatnot, so now we're at $500. $500 is more than enough time, more than enough space for me to honestly spend my money frivolously, but I choose not to. So I think I spoke on it earlier, but I sometimes use that money, I'm in the process of trying to create a new business, which is my film development company, and I'm spending a lot of money on research and development, finding what films work, what films don't work, what bases do I need to use, all these things that I need to understand so I can literally turn this room, actually we might just use the garage, but turn this entire establishment into a dark room so I can start developing film. I really like film. I prefer film photography, and I've reached a point in my life where I'm gonna turn all the hobbies. I love clothes, so I make clothes. I love music, so I have a music podcast with my friends Tyrone and Elijah. I love cameras, so I'm starting to develop a film development company. I love talking to people. I love creating interest, so I have a marketing firm. And this the last chapter of everything is I'm soon be doing keynotes and things of that nature where I can give my opinion on everything because I love to run my mouth, hence why I have YouTube as well. Let me come back. From the 500, I probably spend about $250, $300 on research and development. So that now leaves me about $200 for the month. The $200 for the month, like, yeah, that's not a lot of money, but that's enough for me to get a pair of Vans, go out to eat a couple times once a week or something like that, go get a pedicure. That's when I went last week. I wish I recorded it. I loved the way I looked. I always felt like a bad bitch on Instagram. Ain't nobody can tell me a goddamn thing, but yeah, and that's, like I said, that's how I break down my 1800 all the way, from 1800 all the way down to like 200. And even from there, I probably don't even spend a lot of it because a lot of my friends and peers and whatnot, like, we kind of just sit at home. For example, that's why I'm recording this in my house. I'm editing. I'm doing everything I need to do in order to keep, like I said, to keep things afloat. All in all, these are just some of the tips that I use, the habits and behaviors I use in order to save money. This is not a rule of thumb. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm nothing more than a student of the game. Like, that's it. The only thing I can possibly leverage in this discussion is that I'm obtaining my MBA. It'll be finished with it by next year. And sometimes that can kind of prove that you know business a little bit more, but not really. Like I said before, thank you so much for tuning into this really long video. I intended to make this long. This is episode two of Proof of Concept, and you guys actually help me out. I'm trying to figure out a way to close these things, but I don't know how. So if you have any suggestions, DM me on Instagram. I already have the 10 steps on starting a checking account. That's in my link it's in the link in the description. Be sure to check it out. If you have any questions for me as a person or anything you want to know, let me know. Like I said, I am an open ass book and I want the world to know more about me. I don't necessarily have like a deep story, but I definitely do have an opinion and I love to speak on it. Thank you for tuning in, and I want to leave you with a clip of something. Oh, here's a shot of me. Here's a shot of me having a great time at my homie's birthday party. Hit the little red dot.
It's recording.
All right, we out here for Shavi, you know what I'm saying? We out here getting lit, enjoying his birthday, making sure everybody has a good time. What's going on? Yo, what is this? What is this? You gonna disrespect me like this on camera? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not, okay. All right, look, hold on, how y'all open it?